What's up, everybody? Mike here with the Stand Up Magazine. Today, I am very excited because I get to talk to Fernando Aguerre from the ISA, El Presidente from the ISA. So I am super stoked. I'm actually that stoked that I've even made some notes, and I usually don't make notes. So thank you so much, Fernando, for taking the time to talk to me and respectively to the SUP community. And of course, the one and utmost burning question is, what is the reason that we haven't heard from the ISA over the last 2 years about SUP? We know you guys were busy with surfing. However, the SUP community are very curious to hear where are you guys standing and why, where have you guys been? What's going on?
Well, I think the first thing to do is to dissipate that perception that we haven't been doing anything. All 2020 was actually just like for most people in the world, and no event, no activity year. So we were hunkered down. Basically, the ISA was I wouldn't call it hibernation because we're working, but we're working at home, and for the most part preparing for the future, which is at that time was the Olympic Games, and see how we got back. So our first event of any events was the 2021 World Games in Ecuador that were actually scheduled to be there in 2020. And we were, of course, unsure if those games and the Olympic Games were going to happen. But, and then the other event that we did this year, the only other event that we're doing this year is right now, the World Parasurfing Championships in Pismo Beach, California. It's a record number of athletes and countries again. Very good event, but we haven't been silent at all. I mean, for somebody that is not in our office, it might sound like that. The first thing we did is when we finally got over with this unnecessary and uncalled need to go into litigation with the ICF. They never ran a world championship at all. By the time they started the litigation, they didn't have any SUP officer in their executive. They didn't even have anybody that was really a SUP person in their organization. The only thing they wanted is to see if they can somehow take a sport away that was started by surfers, to see if they can run it because it was cool and because maybe not too many people care about, you don't see too many suppers becoming kayak or canoers, and you see a lot of them becoming suppers. So in any case, I think it was a waste of time and money and energy, but at the end of the day, justice prevailed, and we wasted time. Let me tell you what we did. For Tokyo 2015, we asked the IOC to include shortboard surfing and SUP racing. ICF started moving their political connections and blocked that because they couldn't do it. They haven't done shit for SUP in 2015. Then in 2016, after the vote in Rio, it was quite obvious that we were an Olympic federation now. So we could ask for other disciplines of surfing to be included. So we were included in the Buenos Aires Youth Olympic Games. We already have filed the documents. We have already agreed on the technical course in Buenos Aires. And again, the ICF tried playing their political connections on the IOC, not on behalf of SUP, but against the development that SUP was doing because it was done by the ISA. Then in 2019, the ISA ran SUP racing, SUP surfing with Pan American gold medals awarded for the first time ever. This is the second largest Olympic world event. And even 3 months before the event, they wanted to stop us. They wanted to sabotage what we've been done. Not because they actually thought it was good for SUP, because it was just, they didn't want us to show the world how we can run Olympic movement competitions, which were completely successful. And then, of course, came the resolution of the course of arbitration. And the reason is, if we would have decided to do what they do, which is run like a couple-day racing event and forget about the surfing, that would have been very easy. We could have done that event in San Diego anytime during 2021, but that's not what we are about. SUP for us is intrinsically linked surfing and racing. This is the same culture, and this has been told by the athletes. We have a lot of fans. Of course, you put prize money, you fly people around, you get the biggest board manufacturer to help him, and then you organize what people can call a successful event.
Yes.
But
can I throw in a question real quick there?
Let me finish. Let me finish this. So we just announced while it didn't look like we were doing much. We've been negotiating for months with Puerto Rico, and we just announced that we're going to an idyllic island in the Caribbean, easy to get to from everywhere in the world, warm water, warm air. The competition is going to be right in front of the city, waves and flat water in Puerto Rico. So, it's easier to do whatever, just to look like you're doing something. But we believe that the right thing to do is to do the right thing. And this is what we're doing right now.
Okay, but circling back to the CAS decision, everybody back in August of last year, 2020, was the decision making. It did not seem to stop the ICF from moving forward with a world championship. It did not stop them from now announcing a tour that should be leading up to the next year's world championship. So in effect, it seems like for the sport, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it didn't seem to have done anything at all. We just have now organizations that are running forward.
No, it changed something. Listen, right after we hear from the Court of Arbitration, the same day I called the president of the organizing committee of the Paris Games. Himself is a surfer, but he's also he was at the time the vice president of the ICF, and he's Tony Stanguet, very respected person, both by us and the Olympic Committee. I said, Fernando, I would love to do this. Let's talk to Kit. Kit means Kit McConnell, the sports director of the IOC. So I called to the sports director and I said, well, let's talk to Paris. And the reality was that during the time that we finally got the CAS decision is when the IOC shaved around 1,000 athletes from Tokyo to Paris. So in reality, they were not able to add even what I called. I said, listen, just give me 15 men, 15 women. We do a technical race in the River Seine. It's very, very simple to do it. We already have qualifiers. We have our world championships. We have, the APP Tour can qualify a professional athletes. We can a similar model to the one that we do with the WSL for the Olympic Games that work perfectly. We got universality and we got the top athletes, but it was too late. So right now, this is on my front list of things that I want to achieve in the next couple of years is inclusion of SUP racing in Los Angeles. So this is what I do. This is, this is the man that got surfing to Olympics. So I set plans, I set resources, and then I walk. I am not really concerned about what the ICF is doing. I think they're doing it for the wrong reasons. They don't really care about the sport. It's just about taking over a sport that will be cool for them. But then, I think you need to think about this. Do you think, or any of the racers know if ICF, inside the ICF, can actually and will actually put or would ask for SUP racing to the Olympic Games? If they could have asked anytime. They never asked for it. I have a track record. I asked in 2015 in writing, in a presentation in Tokyo. I spent 3 days in Tokyo presenting surf, shortboarding, and SUP racing. Casper helped me in preparing all this. We were absolutely prepared. We were in Buenos Aires. So the youth of the world was going to be able to do SUP racing in Buenos Aires, killed by the ICF. In the benefit of who? Not in the benefit of the sport, not in the benefit of the athletes. So, the ICF can announce whatever they want. But in reality, the CAS and IOC follow suit, recognize the ISA as the only organization that can manage Olympic world and Olympic movement qualification. That's the end of the story. The ICF can declare anybody. You can go tomorrow. You can go tomorrow. You can go tomorrow with a friend, organize a professional tour and crown world champions, professional champions. It's a free world. That's okay.
That's fine. Okay, so we probably look like, and I'm deviating a little bit here from my questionnaire, but I would probably think we would probably follow the footsteps into surfing a little bit. We have a private organization that does world championships, whoever that may be, that will play out itself, and we have the ISA, who is the Olympic organ for the SUP sport as far as Olympic goes, and will qualifications for Olympics will go through that with whoever the the partner of the ISA is. In surfing, it was the WSL and the ISA. So we can imagine that probably the same structures are going to be in place for SUP in 2028, given that it is going to be reality.
Well, I think I wanna polish this sculpture that you just described.
Please do.
The reality is that the WSL is an independent organization. It has private owners that do whatever they want. They organize, they change the tour, they organize this, they qualify more people, less people, they change the format like they did this year. It's really up to them. We are a foundation. We're an NGO recognized by the state of California and by the United States government. And that's a huge difference.
Huge difference.
Because we everything that we do needs to be for the benefit of the public, not for the benefit of the organization or the shareholders, which in the case of the ISA, there is no shareholders.
Right.
And so you know, which you might not know, I've been the president of the ISA for 27 years, and I've been working for free for 27 years. I was lucky. I was the owner of Reef. I made enough money, so I don't need to worry about collecting money. But everybody in the ISA, which do a great job for a small organization, you saw how we executed in Tokyo. Everything that you saw in Tokyo was run by the ISA.
It was very nice.
So it was, yeah. In any aspect you look at it, it was impeccable. It was, to the point that the professional surfers said, this is the best event, the most meaningful surfing event in my life, like Ferreira or Carissa Moore. So
yeah,
this is
amazing.
So on the other side, on the SUP side, there is the APP, and the APP, has a tour just like the WSL, and we need to negotiate. If we think that the tour is good enough, or it has the top guys in the world and ladies, then of course we will talk to them. But we won't give them the whole SUP qualification to them. Just like we never did that with the WSL. The WSL, we gave them some slots, they qualify the slots, and then those need to compete on the ISA in the national teams. And if they compete, then they go into the games. And then another 10 athletes, 10 men and 12 women, were selected on the ISA World Surfing Games 2019, Miyazaki, 2021, El Salvador. I think it's a show of how the ISA run things. The WSL, thank you to the requirement by the ISA, started testing according to WADA. They never done that. They said they were doing it. They talked, we kind of abide by WADA rules or whatever, but they were not a signatory of WADA. They didn't have outside observers. Their drug tests were not under any of the international standards accepted by the IOC or WADA. Now they are. This is a success story. The fact that we deliver the professionals and total universality, 5 continents, 18 countries. With only 20 men and 20 women, we deliver 18 countries in 5 continents. The IOC deemed this a very successful first inaugural presentation of surfing. So this is what we plan to do with SUP, exactly the same.
Gotcha. Okay. So then, of course, I know a lot of people are probably a little bit wondering what direction is the sport going. I think we have very well established the ISA is going to be the one that brings the sport to the Olympics. Other than that, the sport, it appears to be a little bit on its own. Do you guys have like any kind of like a dedicated SUP person or thinking about somebody that should maybe communicate a little bit more often with the SUP community? Because once again, going back, the SUP community has not heard from the ISA a whole lot in the recent months and years.
Well, this is just your interpretation. From my point of view, you heard a lot. We have education, we have SUP coaching and and SUP instruction on both on flat and on waves, and of course you need to understand that the ISA is not the only organization that runs SUP in the Olympic world. It's the national federations. So yes, the question that you're asking me, you need to also ask the national federations.
Yes, for sure.
What are the national federations doing for SUP? And this is a national question. You reside in America, you understand that. You're a Swiss subject, you understand that. You're a European and an American resident or whatever. So you understand how it is.
Absolutely.
We build the foundations, but then the building needs to be built at the national level by the national federations and at the international level by the ISA. So we have asked for the inclusion of SUP racing in the European Games in Poland, in 2023. We have confirmed SUP racing and surfing for Santiago Pan American Games, which will be a qualifier for the in 2027. The next Pan American Games will be a qualifier for LA. So all the things coming together. Of course, you know, you look from the outside, say, okay, well, there's no communication. Yeah, there is communication. You know, Casper agreed on being re-elected, so it means that he knows what we're doing. And maybe you should interview Casper.
Maybe I should. Then, I really feel I need to, no doubt. Hi,
yeah, because we have a heart-to-heart with Casper not too long ago. He asked me, really, what are we gonna do for SUP? I really want to help. I really want to work, but I want to be sure that there is actually resources. So in 30 days, less than 30 days, we're going to announce the hiring of a full-time dedicated SUP person at the ISA. This
very nice.
Already being, yes. It's a person that all of you guys know, and you guys are going to welcome with a smile and a happy face.
We're looking forward
this
to it.
This is besides Casper.
Let me ask you this. We were talking about national federations, and what we notice, and I notice is particularly coming from Switzerland and covering the German side, Germany as well, we see how canoe federations on local basis and surfing associations are starting to work together, or how these things are starting to melt together. We see countries where the surf federation is the only federation that cares for SUP, and we see countries where only the canoe federation in the country is taking care of SUP, particularly in Eastern Europe, where we see a huge uptick in interest in SUP. So the question is, how can this be married at some point to one another? And is there a chance for some sort of an international cooperation between a canoe and the surfing federation? Is this even possible to think about it?
No. Listen, you need to understand, I'm a practical man. There's nothing impossible. I offered to the ICF long time ago to allow all their ICF members in a country where there were no ISA members to send their athletes as national delegation to the ISA World Championships. They turned that down. Why? Well, because they didn't like that. But of course, you know, you're talking. The current president of the ICF is a German. He's been the one that was given the job to fight the ISA. So of course, and Germany is a big canoe country. It's a big kayak country. So is Hungary. So is Eastern Europe. But that's not the world. That's just a handful of countries out there. In many small countries in the Caribbean, in Africa, and Asia, it's not a canoe federation or a surfing federation. It's a water sports federation, and they're together. I don't have any problem working, but you know what? Against the non-straight, non-credible practices of the ICF, it's very difficult to work with somebody like that. That as soon as you close your eyes, to take to blink because you got a little something on your eye, you wake up and they have a campaign full of things that are not true. So for me, everything that I did is in the open. You know, I don't stand any benefits here. For me, I want to support SUP, and why I want to support SUP. I own surfboards. I've been surfing for 50 years, but I SUP as well. So for me, I don't care really what vehicle you take into the water. It's not about, if you have a paddle, you're not one of my tribe. I don't believe in that. I don't believe that bodyboarders are worse than stand-up surfers. The shortboarders are better than longboarders, or vice versa. This is all bullshit. These are stories created that don't add anything to the world. You know, my soccer team is better than you, so I have the right to kill you. That's crazy. People have some crazy, my religion is the real God and yours is not, and then I'm supposed to kill you. No, I don't believe the world goes that way. So for me, I am in an inclusive. Anybody that wants to send, and I want to repeat this in public so you know it. Any federation that has SUP surfers in a country where there is no an ISA member, you can send your team there to the ISA World Titles. And an official team, and you will be recognized an official team. Now, if there is an ISA federation, we will not accept you because we have an ISA federation. Even if there is a SUP federation, which in some countries used to be like a SUP federation and then a surfing federation, the SUP federation can run SUP on their own, but when it comes to national representation, you need to get together. Just like you want to go to the Olympics, you cannot enter the Olympics. I cannot enter the Olympics. We need to be entered by our National Olympic Committee, and it's only one per country. It doesn't matter who develops your sport. At the time of Olympic Games, the entries are entered by the National Olympic Committee, and that's just a rule. And we all accept the rule. No?
Great. The sport is open. The doors are open. SUP is a paddling and a surfing sport at the same time. And we are hopefully on a breakthrough, on the verge. We have 7 more years till Huntington Beach, hopefully 2028, and we can go there as one big happy family. SUP surfing, SUP paddling, technical race, long distance, everything that SUP has to offer. I know there's a lot of people from the Eastern European bloc and from Russia that are super excited about SUP and they want to be part of it more. They all come from the canoe sport. They all, like, there's a big shift from the canoe sport coming into surfing. Why? Because they love the culture. They think it's cool. They are all decorated Olympians of them, of course, as well, some of them, and they want a SUP. So I
know that. Listen, you know that. I knew that for ages. We started talking about SUP in 2009. Then the small APP was created and we started working, and finally in early 2012, we ran our first world championship in Lima, Peru. The ICF didn't even know what the sport was called. They didn't even understand what it was. They didn't have a committee, they didn't have a group, they didn't have it as late as 2018. They didn't have SUP as a discipline. And when they included it was as a subset of canoe. They call it like stand-up canoe. Some crazy name invention to see if they can get around. And you know what? They can have all the canoers they want coming to SUP. We welcome them with open arms. But the question is, why aren't SUPers going into canoe? Well, that's not for me to answer.
Well, yeah, but that's because we're a surfer. It's a surfing culture, and
you know it. I know it.
I know it. I know it too. I've never been a canoe person. I never will be a canoe person. But I'm excited for stand-up paddling because it comes from surfing. There's no question, and that's what I like about these people. That's what I like. The ICF seems to be very excited about the surfing culture. They seem to be the canoe people that don't surf. They are excited about the surfing culture. They want to be part of this. They want to. It looks cool. It looks cool to them. It's a cool vibe, and I think. So it's interlaced. It's not one or the other. It's kind of like there's an interlacing happening. And I guess we're just going to have to figure out how everything is going to play out here in the next few years.
Listen, the only thing, my message to you and my message for anybody that has doubts about what I say do is we work hard. We have been working hard for over 12 years for SUP. So we're going to do this and we're doing it right. And you know what? We have a track record. We had the Pan Am Games in 2019 in Lima, and they were an incredible success. Surfing and SUP were one of the 3 highest rating sports in the Pan Am Games. Okay, so we got that. You know, the president of Peru was in the venue watching the finals. So all of this happened not thanks to some organization that never really understood SUP, but happened because of the ISA. Because, you know, I know who Laird Hamilton is. I know who David Kalama is. I know who Robbie Nash is, because I am them, they are us, because we belong to the same tribe. And I don't care if you windsurfing wave, if you kite, if you foil, if you shortboard, if you longboard, all these nuances escape the non-surfing people. But we welcome them. I welcome everybody. This is not about, because you have a paddle, then it's a paddle sport. I don't really care what you want to call it. They changed their name. They're not called ICF anymore. They're called World Paddling. Really? Why?
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, then it's a paddling association and not necessarily a canoe federation, because
but that's what they, you know what, besides canoe and kayak, there are another 7 disciplines inside the ICF. What made people believe that if the ICF would have won the CAS decision, all the other 7 sports will say, yeah, get SUP into the games before us? We've been waiting for 20 years. People don't know these details, these nuances. So, we won with the ISF, with the ICF, when they took their event to China, everybody paid money to everybody. So everybody was happy. And what did they do? They make everybody very obvious. The ISA is going to El Salvador. Who knows, Andre? It was the best event ever. It was incredible. Everything
Cool.
worked Swiss clockwork. So you gotta really look at the facts. It's easy, you know. Is I always tell my sons, my son and my girls. I have 4 kids. I tell them, guys, you know, we're having discussions or whatever. Everybody has their own right to their own opinion, and I will respect any opinion that you come up with. I don't care how absurd I might think it is. I have to respect it, to say I disagree. But nobody has a right to your own facts. The facts are the facts. And the track record of the ISA talks louder than me and than anything that I can say or in this interview or anywhere. Facts are the facts. You know that SUP is a surf discipline. The SUP is part of the surfing world. Well, the ICF was trying to convince CAS that was not the case. Showing pictures of longer race boards that people still surf on them. But for them it was, oh no, that's basically just a canoe, somebody standing up on a canoe. I say, are you kidding me?
Gotcha.
Like,
okay. Well,
I'm glad it's over. You know what? I'm glad it's over. I'm glad those 2 or 3 years of wasted energy are over.
Cool. Then let's look into future. I think we're going to have to leave it at this here. Let's look brightly into the future. Hopefully 2028, we all see one another over in LA and have that Olympic inclusion. That would be huge for everybody. And I can't thank you enough for your time and for letting me know what's going on and how you feel about things. And let's just give a big shout out to everybody and say thank you.
Shaka, shaka.
Shaka is shaka. Woohoo. And thank you so much. I think the community is going to be really appreciative of what you just had to say to us. Thank you so much, Fernando.
Thank you, man. And my WhatsApp number is always open. You call, I answer. I don't not answer any call from anybody around the world. Perfect. Either direct message me to my Instagram. I answer all my direct messages in Instagram.
You guys heard it.
I'm open.
Contact Fernando. Awesome. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys in the next video.